huge 8-inch heart cake in the winter. I actually had to add 2 base layers to this cake because, as you can see here, it was working really well to begin with. However, as it kept freezing, I tried to kind of smooth it out and it just was not working. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it on the counter for it to kind of soften up just a little bit, or at least come to room temperature. And then I went ahead and did another base coat, and as you can see, the second base coat was a lot smoother and I was really, really pleased with it. I think I've definitely realised that sometimes you just can't fix things, you basically have to start over again. So I did have to make a lot more buttercream, but it was so worth the final result. So this was a 30th birthday cake and it was all pink on pink with glitter cherries. And honestly, like, I've made really classy 30th birthday cakes and this one was just so fun to create. I've only ever really made really large pink cakes when they've been for little kids or babies, so it was so nice to create this for a grown adult. I definitely think adult cakes should be a lot more fun than they currently are, because I think everyone loves the sort of vintage classy florals, but this was just so fun and I loved the end result. I'm currently using a leaf tip to kind of do this border. I was a bit hesitant, but I knew I wanted the borders to be a bit thicker and a bit different than my usual style. You'll also see me turning the tables a few times because I wanted to ensure that they were all level. I also get asked so many questions about what leaf tip I use, and guys, I use so many leaf tips that don't even have numbers. Although it is important to definitely use the correct tip, making sure that your buttercream is smooth and silky is probably the most important tip I'll give to you guys, because without the buttercream working as it should, the tips really aren't going to help you. So again, I'm just using a small star tip to kind of do this reverse shell border. I always find it a lot easier to do a reverse shell border using a smaller tip, but sometimes when it comes to my larger tips, I literally have to use all my brain cells for it because I don't know why I find it a lot harder to do with a larger tip. So the request for this cake was a really big pink heart cake. So they wanted a baby pink and then details in the darker pink. At this point, I wasn't actually sure how much draping I was going to do for this cake, but I decided to do one more row and then kind of leave it at that, because I think sometimes less is more, even though there's still a lot going on with this cake. I also did a reverse shell border at the top to kind of give it a bit of depth. I also wanted to ensure that the bottom and the top borders matched, hence why I'm going in again on the inside. I also wrote 30 off camera because this cake was way too big, and because I did my writing right at the end, I could not afford for me to mess it up, basically, because it would be really difficult to try and scrape it off. And here I am just adding on my cherries. Because this was a really large cake, I decided to do 8 dollops. So on these little dollops, I'll be adding on the glitter cherries. And guys, look at these pink glitter cherries. I was so excited to add these on. I actually went into the living room with this huge cake to show my family because I was so proud of the final result. But this is the final result and I absolutely loved creating this. I really hope I get more requests like this in the future because it was so much fun. Let me know what you guys think about this cake.